Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Just Unsecure. As you know, we're always here to bring to you the latest thing in security. And the topic of today is CASB, which is Cloud Access Security Broker. Like I said, a subscriber wanted us to talk about this. And so we'd like to say thank you for everyone who mailed us and request for some kind of security topic. And we'll be back to talk to you more about CASB. Hello, everyone, and welcome again. Just Unsecure. I'm your host, Babs, and my co-host, OO. And we're two information security and cybersecurity enthusiasts and evangelists. Today, we're going to be talking to you about CASB, which stands for Cloud Access Security Broker. Now, first and foremost, I just wanted to ask, before we jump into it in detail, what is CASB? Why is everyone interested in CASB? I know. You want to give us why the listeners and subscribers want to know more about CASB?
For me, this basic thing that any sensible security professional nowadays who want to know anything about CASB would be, how can I secure the cloud environment, especially in the ages of the SaaS, the PaaS, and what have you. So the SaaS means software as a service, PaaS means platform as a service, and also infrastructure as a service. Those are the construct of the cloud. So when you understand now that you have responsibility as an organization, that means we usually call it cloud responsibility matrix. So you know what the provider takes care of, you know what you are in charge of. And that means your data is yours. So you cannot transfer that request to the provider. Definitely, that means you want visibility. You want to be able to extend your compliance to the cloud. You want to be able to do data security, and you want to be able to do a lot of configuration management. So that is what I can say why those things are.
So for me, I would say CASB is like a service that sits between the organization and cloud applications out there that the organization owns. So it's kind of like a solution, should I say. So that's a solution that provides the basic, not the basic is very important, but some services to an IT environment that cannot manage, security or services for the organizations that are in the cloud. Like OO said, different cloud models out there, platform infrastructure, software as a service. So this is where CASB comes into play. So I would ask you, what kind of organizations, let's don't go to the organizations. Let's look at what are the core functionalities from your experience. And I'm asking this because you've actually implemented CASB, should I say, setup solution for real. So I work with CASB, but you actually implemented it. So I'd like to hear your own take, the core functionality you kind of think should be implemented or looked out for before anyone goes out for CASB.
Yeah, basically, the core functionality that I've seen most of my clients look at, and probably I've actually advised them to look at as well, even far before implementation or onboarding or whatever it is. There are basic things that everybody wants to know. Visibility, especially when it comes to the SaaS environment.
Yep.
Because I'm storing my organization data with you, whether I'm doing HR in the cloud, I'm doing ERP in the cloud, I'm doing CRM in the cloud. I really want to know what is happening. Now, those software are not deployed in my environment. So even if I have logs in IaaS, for instance, especially if I have a major cloud environment, I really want to see what is happening to my infrastructure that I've deployed with you, despite the fact that you are the one that owns the core infrastructure. I want to have the same visibility. Data security. because the perimeter have changed, right? So since the perimeter have changed, data loss prevention is critical. When it used to be in the environment, this data should not go outside of my gateway. Now, when in a SaaS environment, you don't have that control, because SaaS environment is not the only thing you have access to is the software. So you don't have access to the network, you don't have access to the servers, you don't have access to anything. So you actually want to say, guess what? These are my data. I don't want them to go beyond this perimeter. So that means data security. Then the third one also is threat intelligence, threat protection. Because most people have seen that even their so-called environment, their data, which they are fully responsible for, has been stolen in the cloud environment. So you want to be able to do that, and you want to be able to do that with more intelligence. That means, one, apart from looking at the user-based or entity-based access behavior analytics, you are looking at even injecting some third-party threat analysis from trusted parties into it to tell you key things about threat in the environment.
I think there's one for me, which is the compliance from
Absolutely.
the CASB I've worked with, is the compliance and being able to provide reports for the organizations that they manage. Some of the compliance reports I've seen are it shows that there is some form of governance within the CASB. So that's some of the core functionalities I would say people should look out for, ensuring that they are able to provide you the reports that shows that governance is in place. Moreover, some other functionalities I would say is the ability for them to look at threats intelligence. I think you mentioned that already. And when I say threat intelligence, because they're a solution or a service being provided, they provide in-depth details when it comes to threat intelligence and incident response. So those are the kind of things and functionalities and features you should look out for as well. From the ones I've worked with or know about as well, I know that assigning labels is some functionality that some CASB do as well. But assigning labels should also align with what you in your organization, because at the end of the day, you should work in ensuring that even though they've defined these labels within their solution, you as the customer are the owner of your data, and you should be able to either agree or be able to change the labels on how you're going to label your data within the CASB network. So you want to say something?
So absolutely. That is a touchy topic that you just mentioned. To me personally, everybody have got a policy that said this is confidential, public, but every time it's on the paper. Nobody enforces it. Now that you've shipped your data to the cloud, how do you label and lettering your data confidential, top secret? So you should leverage on this. CASB can help you. Some CASB come with templates or even those customization that you can identify some data to say, oh, all this HR data, all those P2 data, PII data, all this card order data, definitely there should be this.
You also touched on another one, which was you just said it's PII data. So CASB helps, even not just with PII, for you to be compliant with anything like the PCI DSS, ensuring that sensitive information or sensitive data are encrypted. It uses a tokenized form of encryption, whereby you need two databases to be able to do tokenization. So CASB helps in ensuring encryption of sensitive information. The one I really like most is you should always try and ensure, if possible, that they integrate with DLPs, and DLPs is data loss prevention products that helps you just to ensure that data within your organization stays within your organization. So CASB is able to also integrate with products if you have that within your organization, or more or less, you should look out for CASBs that are able to integrate with the solution you have in place.
Absolutely. Even if you have CASB that even bundle this into their solution, that's even better. That means they can automatically detect data exfiltration and say, guess what? No, this should not be allowed, and help you to do that. It's tricky, but finding it, especially when you have a cloud environment, is critical, because you don't know when things are happening and you are connected to a very fast network. You want something that can react quickly, not something that someone will have to manually manage. So,
are there any other core
for me,
functionality
one thing is configuration management.
Oh, yeah.
So they help you to say, guess what? Oh, I'm going to perform more like a cloud security posture for you and see how your configuration lies. Babs, you know very well, based on the analyst report and even what I've seen in the industry, myself engaging with clients often, the major cloud vulnerability sources of breach is misconfiguration. Forget it.
Yeah, definitely.
That is the number one. We still don't get configuration right, and we moved that particular habit to the cloud. So we need a solution that can quickly do that validation for us. And if it's very good, be able to map it to a benchmark like a CIS straight.
Yeah.
And that is what CASB does.
Another core function that just came to my mind is ensuring that your CASB is able to integrate with all the gateways you have into your application.
Yeah.
Because it's easy for you to just get a solution, a CASB solution, then now realize, oops, there are like 2 other gateways or 3 gateways, but that don't integrate well. So you have to ensure that your CASB, before you procure, these are some of the things you look out for before procuring a CASB service or solution.
Especially, which we'll talk about later.
Okay. Yes, we definitely will. But now, if I wanted to go for CASB, I think, without obviously not being promoted, I think Gartner kind of lists out some top 3 or 4 CASB providers out there. I know Microsoft is definitely one of them. I'm not too sure about the rest. I know Microsoft because I've worked with that before.
As far as every one of us seems to go to Gartner, not necessarily promoting any company, or at least they are widely known, and not promoting any product by ourselves, but we're saying if you need to choose, the clear leader in the environment is still McAfee.
No.
For a long time. As at 2020. 2021.
Based on the Gartner report.
Based on the Gartner report.
Not Babs and OO, just
not Babs, no. So because definitely when you look at them, they are playing across cloud environments. I think that actually makes them a leader. Irrespective of what cloud environment you are, you can actually use McAfee. Microsoft is a very good contender. But you also have some other solution like Nextbook. You have I think Big Like, all of them.
Yeah, they are, like I said, it's a new field and many people are getting into it. So we won't bore subscribers into like the type of subscribers. But again, if you really want to know the subscribers out there, the Gartner report on CASB, you can just Google that and they'll let you'll see the quadrants of those within the space. I think let's go to how do we integrate? I know the major integration points. The one I've worked mostly is API integrating with CASB. I know there are like 3 major points, but the API integration to CASB is one area. I always tell people that if you have APIs and you really want to integrate with CASB has the ability for you to integrate with any CASB if you have APIs in place. Is there any other one from your?
So definitely, one of the one that is, which you have said, is the API, because most cloud environment definitely, especially when it comes to SaaS environment, basically you can do the API. API is the first point, because most SaaS environment, I mean software as a service, will only offer API to you to connect. But the other ones are very critical as well, especially when you have infrastructure as a service or some platform as a service which you can integrate with properly. Then you can do forward proxy or reverse proxy.
So I would go for reverse proxy from a security perspective if I wanted to implement, because from a security perspective, you don't want people to know directly where you're coming from. That's why they call it reverse proxy, while the forward proxy is direct to the application. So an API, like OO clearly stated, it's every application or software as a service will provide you an application for you to be able to connect to. From the environment perspective, or what since you've implemented it as well, what do most clients or most people go for?
So most people that are based on some infrastructure, especially when what they want to integrate with. For example, you want to integrate with a SaaS environment. A SaaS environment will never give you anything too verbose. Probably they'll give you API. Yeah. And if you can convince that cloud environment, definitely they can offer you something with reverse proxy. Why are you doing reverse proxy? It's just because you want to be able to go into your own identity provider, because that's just really critical. So because you want to, first of all, link to an identity provider, because you want all authenticated activity auditing into your SaaS application. So most likely, what most organizations want to make sense with is, can I actually do reverse proxy, especially when it comes across? Well, if your provider, your SaaS provider, application provider do not support that, you're only basically doing API integration.
I think for me, some advanced features of CASB, and I'm going apart from the reverse proxy and API and forward proxy, I would say some of the advanced features I really like is the fact that they do auto discovery. So they are able to find out applications within your network that maybe you are not even aware of, and give kind of a risk rating to how those applications are managed within your network. So that's one thing I found very interesting when using the CASB that I've been working with.
That's a spot on. Most of and I kept mentioning SaaS environment because I've seen more use cases around SaaS environment and custom application than any other use case. Mm-hmm. Because when you go to a SaaS environment, you don't see anything.
Yeah.
You don't see anything. So you really want to discover roles. You want to discover roles, responsibility, risk with your configuration. When you go to somewhere like a cloud environment, you want to see everything about the configuration of from your storage to your compute. You really want to know what is happening. From the network layer, you want to know what is exposed, especially when you have deployed so many systems. So auto discovery that you have mentioned is also my number one, because if you don't know, you don't know. So you want to auto discover assets, the auto discover configuration, auto discover users, auto discover their roles, and then look at the risk level. Because you have enrichment from an intelligence, you know what it is.
And like you and I have stated, it gives you some form of visibility into how your network is set up, which is another core advanced features from my perspective, the visibility to know what is in your organization. The one I really like you said, maybe you didn't elaborate on it, is the configuration aspect. I think you said that as well. So being able to say, okay, this is my baseline. This is the baseline this entire network needs to have. Anything that doesn't meet this baseline, raise a flag, raise an alert, raise an incident, raise a ticket, and it's integrated. Bang, if it doesn't meet the baseline, there's something not right within this, which again allows CASB or the solution to be able to detect indirectly malicious intent within your network.
Absolutely.
So like I say, it gives a good visibility. So those are some core advancements and features as well. I don't know if you have any other.
Yeah, when you mention network, some other guys will be thinking that we're talking about network. When Babs is mentioning network, is actually talking about your cloud environment, the entire thing. Whether your cloud or your hybrid environment or multi-cloud environment, that is what it's referring to. So when you look at that, basically, don't forget, CASB targets more cloud than on-premise. CASB takes care of end-to-end that you actually want to have visibility into, whether it's your cloud infrastructure, PaaS, or SaaS. And it has that capability to give you that visibility. That is what we don't have. We have silos. So you just want that 360-degree view. And that's it.
So
another key thing,
one, which one?
Another key thing that I know most people are missing, or most people would love to have, is the user and entity behavior analysis.
Oh, yes. I've used that actually. It's fun.
Because when things happen, we cannot stick activity to individual. So if you cannot identify someone, there's no how you can map to that intelligence. Definitely. So if someone is given a role, you want to know that role is not conflicting with any other role that is got. So user and entity behavior analytics is very good in CASB.
And the reason why I think I like it that much is it allows you to ensure there's no authorization creep, and there's a separation of a duty in place. So if somebody is supposed to be accounting and billing, and that is his role, but maybe mistakenly was given another access to salary or something like that, it's flagged up immediately. There's a user analytics there that, this guy is in the accounting team, but now has the ability to do something in HR. Why is that possible? Clarification. So it's a good solution to have.
It's a good solution. Also, it takes it beyond that as well. For example, it looks at the behavior of the user. Says this user usually logged in from London or from Ghana every Monday or Tuesday or from a particular time of the day. And then automatically the guy pops up in India. The system was like, really? No way. Or someone is accessing using the same credential from a Tor network or from an underground network or from somewhere that is suspicious. Then the system said, no, this can't be the user. Or the user used to post 10,000 as an accountant, $10,000. Then all of a sudden, it's posting 50,000. Oh, really? No, that's not normal. So that is why it's very good. Apart from identifying individual, it's also mapping their behavior and saying, no, this is not right. And automatically alerted the SOCs, or if it's configured to auto reverse or block that user, based on automation, it automatically blocks the user and alert everybody. Say, guess what? This is an incident. Take care of it. I've seen one, Babs, that actually shows the point, the city, the location of the IP address.
Wow. Hey, that's good.
I was impressed. Each location,
technology is moving
city,
fast,
and it says this is where this guy, and I'm flagging it because the guy cannot travel from this location to this location in those number of hours. So what is happening?
Exactly. Wow, that's
it's very good.
Maybe I now understand why I got blocked when I went to Tenerife. Okay. So another one I wanted is, for me, one of the main areas is data security. Most organizations moving to the cloud are always worried about their data. And I think where CASB comes in is the fact that they're able to understand your data structure, your data itself, and able to understand how it's supposed to be used within the context of your organization. So like Oo just rightly said, if there's something not meeting the baseline in terms of how the data is supposed to go to company A, company Y, there's an analytic already inbuilt to be able to flag it and tell you, okay, your data that used to go to San Francisco, all of a sudden is going to Australia. Please, why is that? Or or your data from Ghana that's supposed to go to Kenya is being diverted to South Africa. Why is that? So it does some form of analytics for you, so you'll be able to clearly respond to any incidents that you feel is not right.
Yeah, and you mentioned something before, right? That when it comes to that, integration with a DLP, which you've mentioned before, that means data loss prevention solutions, is very key. And if the solution itself, the CASB, is bundled with a DLP, that is fantastic. That means automatically you can say, no, based on the policy that I have in here, data cannot travel from Kenya to South Africa. No way. So definitely it's either flag it or block it. And also log it at the same time in a ticketing system. That integration is very important.
I think, like I said, it CASB for everyone is new, but it's something that, many organizations should look into. I know we've talked, the main other area is configuration compliance, and I think we've spoken about that. I think everyone should, CASB offers the ability for you to integrate with or to leverage the fact that you have a baseline or a CMDB in place and ensure that everything within your network or when I say network, your cloud environment is aligned to the way you want it and it's managed for you from an analytic point of view. So I would say they do more of the heavy lifting. Yeah, should I put it like that? More of the heavy lifting for you to manage your cloud applications. So I'm not going to talk much about the configuration because we've kind of spoken more about it. I don't know if you want to say much.
No, especially at this age where we even have shortage in security professionals, you want to dive into some automation that is able to help you quickly measure and then quickly tell you like, this is where you are missing the line. And then if it's possible, automate it in such a way that it addresses that configuration. That means if the configuration drifts, it brings it back to what's supposed to be the baseline after you set up your baseline. It brings it back automatically. If anybody changes anything, it brings it back, except someone has approved it.
Yeah, in some tools, like some other tools, they just call it auto-healing, whereby if you change any configuration that doesn't go through the change management process, or you already automatically, let the tool know that this change is going to occur. And if you do a change and it doesn't feel, I'm not aware this change is auto-healing, it reverts to the last known configuration. So so CASB is able to do that kind of thing as well.
Absolutely. So in your own experience, what do you think some of our listeners should avoid when they are trying to choose CASB? Because we can make the same mistake of choosing a tool.
Yeah, I think the main thing for me is I'm always a sucker for simplicity. And I always say, keep it stupidly simple. Case. Don't go for things that are too complex.
Yeah.
Because the more complex it is, the more complex it's going to take you to understand what's going on. Yeah. Get it. Implementation should be simple.
Yeah.
Do the things you do well, very well. Then add on top of that. Yeah. Do not overcomplicate everything when you're deciding on, don't decide on every single thing. Look at how a CASB solution will fit into your organization and how it will help you. Just because they say it's going to, let me just use another just because they say it's going to integrate to something, and let's say it's going to integrate to a SIM, but maybe your organization is not using a SIM in-house, it's already using a SIM with a third party. You might want to but look at what you have and what a CASB is going to solve for you before you decide on choosing a particular CASB service or solution, should we
say. You mentioned very key thing, and I think you mentioned add-on. Be careful. Avoid excessive cost as well, because you can quickly. CASB is not cheap, and when you have all the options, we talked about DLP, this functional integration. Be careful that you actually choose what you need, because your cost can ramp up. So ask for those costs upfront so that you would know what to do, because most of these things are deployed in a cloud environment. And before you know it, you can wrap up costs in minutes.
and that's a very valid point, because, and that's why I always say that know all the tools or the gateways and things that your CASB is going to connect to. So if you have a SIEM and you need CASB to send logs to the SIEM, put that thought down when you are trying to get a CASB solution. If CASB is going to manage some form of identity or the analytics we were talking about, that if that is your priority, get the information from the CASB solution. Do not assume that, they've told you everything and that's what's going to come with the package. You have to be sure that this is what you are going to be paying for. Because like just said, if you don't say, it might not be given to you. And when you request it, then it's an added on feature. That means your cost goes up and up and up and up. So try to do end to end. Ensure whatever you do is end to end. Don't do it halfway thinking they are going to cover the remaining half. Make sure everything is laid down black and white.
Fantastic. What other thing do you think about?
I think I would say, from my experiences, ensuring that the CASB is able to integrate with your identity management solution in-house.
Fantastic.
So, even because, like I said, if they don't integrate, that is one case. Some people might think, it will integrate automatically. If it does integrate automatically, then that's another solution, another bill, another cost again.
Yeah.
So if you want it to integrate automatically, it also helps the fact that the CASB will be able to do easy analytics on the users within the organization if they're able to integrate with your in-house identity. I always say there's no need to two separate. Some people might go, let the CASB handle another identity and we would have another identity. No, because what it means now is, if a user exists there doing something malicious or you in-house block a user, it doesn't synchronize.
Absolutely.
So you need that single IDM whereby if any user does anything, if HR blocks him, it's blocked throughout. If the CASB raises an alarm, it's blocked throughout. It's a synchronized ecosystem. So that's for me one of the things to avoid.
Yeah, user behavior, what you said is really fantastic. User behavior is key, as I've mentioned. You need to be able to map those users to activities. So you should not have any disjointed user integration with CASB. So make sure that you have the right identity solution. And then mentioning that, you know that now this is a cloud environment. That means is either the cloud environment is providing an identity management solution or you are using your on-premise identity to authenticate into your SaaS, IaaS, or whatever. We are using a third-party provider, which is called an identity provider, like solutions that we have in the market, the major ones, SalesPoint, Okta, Oracle, identity management, and so on and so forth, even Microsoft Azure ADFS. So just make sure that your CASB can integrate to that and you can monitor users move on. Another thing is silos, and that's also bordered on silos. Don't get a CASB that cannot give you integrate with probably solution that you have already. I think Babs mentioned it, but it's worth stressing. One thing you want to do is make sure that same CASB, very easy integration with your SIEM, ticketing, or incident management systems. And if you have any other automation system in your environment, make sure that CASB can integrate with it. Because what is the point of getting that intelligence and you cannot have single view across your entire environment? It's not. And when CASB rates an alert and you can't get your ticketing system to assign it to someone that is going to address it, how are you going to track it? So those are the things that you also need to look at to say, yes, as far as this can do a lot of things for me, at least visibility, auditing, reporting is critical.
So I'm also now going to play kind of like a devil's advocate here, because some people might say, okay, but I operate a hybrid environment whereby I have my private network and that is within my organization, and I have the cloud service out there. Why would I want a CASB IDM connecting to my private identity management if the people that are going to work within the cloud are separate from the private, not separate, but I mean, like, you know, there's a different group. There might be the cloud developers that work strictly with the cloud guys, and they don't necessarily work within the network, the private network that we have. Why would we want to have a single IDM covering that? Why can't we just allow the CASB create the users for those that will be working in the cloud environment?
Great. That is a fantastic way of looking at things. But remember, CASB is no identity management solution. So first of all, throw that out of the window. If you have an identity solution that you've segregated to say, oh, fantastic, guys on-premise are not the one using application in the cloud. That application belongs to someone else or particular part of the business. It's not the same number. Definitely target your identity provider in the cloud. But if you have someone traversing your network already going to authenticate into the cloud and back and forth, definitely.
That's exactly what I wanted to hear. So you got it spot on, because I was having that, I knew someone was going to come up with that. Oh, but I have a hybrid and things like that. And, you know,
it is not hybrid yet.
Like I said, we talk to each other in this show and try to get one another with questions that viewers or subscribers would definitely want to hear one of us, you know, ask the other. So like I said, we don't just sit down and talk. We ask each other questions and ask each other's own opinion and views. The cloud space security is an opened area. So every thought process that myself and O brings to this channel is, like I said, genuine and of the books. So do you have anything else you want to add to this topic? I think it's
it's space band, and the only thing is reduce your manual thing in the cloud. Try to use a CASB, especially when you have large scale deployment across SaaS, PaaS, and IaaS. It's critical. Even if you have large deployment on IaaS alone, do it. Find a solution that can create that end-to-end visibility and automation for you, because I'm telling you, you cannot monitor or manage most things that are happening in there. You need that visibility.
Absolutely. Remember, do your governance, risk, compliance, and continuous monitoring, just continuous improvement all the way. So like I said, before you choose a solution, do your in-house due diligence as well.
Absolutely. Okay. For the subscriber that I've suggested this, I hope this meets your expectation. If you have any other question that has not been answered here, or you need better clarification, definitely you can still send messages to us at JU team at justunsecure.com, or just put a comment in any of the channel, and we're probably going to say it and respond to you.
Thank you all. And like I said, ensure you subscribe and, follow us. We're on Twitter. We're on Instagram. We're on all the major podcast channels out there. And again, we will bring you shows after shows just to make sure you know everything within the security space. Thank you all, and talk to you later. Peace.
Have a great day.